Welcome to the Galena Park Independent School District Bully Prevention and Suspected Child Abuse Reporting Training. Our purpose is to provide you with information designed to equip you in recognizing and preventing bullying and suspected child abuse in our schools. Please make sure that you take the time to understand all of the information that is provided to you.
At the end of this training, you will be required to sign statements of affirmation indicating your acknowledgement of the information and your responsibility as a GPISD employee. Understand? Let's begin by talking about bullying and prevention and intervention.
Here at Galena Park ISD, we are committed to creating bully-free campuses by establishing policies and procedures and building a safe learning environment.
We also educate you, the staff, about bullying. We engage parents and students. How are we going to do that? Well, we want to make sure that our staff members understand the definition of bullying, how to identify and prevent bullying.
Our objective during this video is to help you understand the definition of bullying, identify and prevent bullying, to learn about available resources for students, and to have the skills to intervene before incidents occur or the behavior escalates.
House Bill 1942 defines bullying as an act of engaging in written or verbal expression through electronic means or physical conduct that occurs on school property, at a school-sponsored or school-related activity, or in a vehicle operated by the district, and that has the effect or will have the effect of physically harming a student's person or of damage to the student's property, and/or is sufficiently severe, persistent, and pervasive enough that the action or threat creates an intimidating, threatening, or abusive educational environment for a student.
Every student deserves to go to school free of fear. However, harassment, intimidation, and bullying are unfortunate realities of today's school environment. Bullying incidents especially have dominated the national headlines over the past few years. Statistics show that 1 in 3 teens report being bullied, and 1 in 10 reported being bullied daily or several times a week. Bullying can happen anywhere at any time. It can be face-to-face, through text messages, or on social media sites. Bullying is not limited by age, gender, education, or socioeconomic level. Anyone can be a victim. Bullying can be devastating in a student's life and can cause lasting harm. It is not a phase that kids go through or just a normal part of growing up. It should never be ignored.
Here at Galena Park ISD, we prohibit bullying of any kind. GPISD prohibits retaliation against any person, witness, or another person who, in good faith, reports information regarding bullying.
We have established a procedure for providing notice of an incident of bullying to a parent or a guardian, and established a procedure students should follow to obtain assistance and intervention in response to bullying.
Here at Galena Park Independent School District, we provide counseling for victims, witnesses, and those who initiate and engage in the act of bullying, and have established reporting and investigative procedures for following up on alleged acts of bullying. We also prohibit school officials from disciplining a student who is the victim of bullying, or for the student's use of reasonable self-defense in response to bullying, and provide that the discipline of a student with disabilities complies with federal law in such cases.
Abusive situations that are defined as bullying incidents have 3 main characteristics. Harm. Someone gets hurt physically, socially, or emotionally. Unfair match. One person or group does not have the physical, verbal, or social skills to effectively contest the other person or group. Repeated occurrences. The harm and unfair match are repeated over a period of time. Other abusive situations, including harassment and intimidation, can be harmful and should be reported, but the combination of these 3 criteria makes bullying especially damaging to the victim.
So you may ask yourself, what motivates a bully?
All bullies prey on an imbalance of power. They may be coping with a loss. They may have an active and impulsive temperament. They may be victims of bullying, abuse, and may see it modeled at home. They may have low self-esteem and seek attention. They need a particular reaction from the other members of the group. Bullies believe their behavior is exciting and makes them more popular.
There are many myths and warning signs that revolve around bullying. For example, kids don't tell. Kids will be kids. Bullying is a fact of life. School violence only affects a small percentage of young people. Kids need to learn to deal with it.
Frequently teased, taunted, belittled, ridiculed, intimidated, threatened, dominated, or subdued. Has a derogatory nickname. Regularly has bruises or injuries that can't be explained. Has belongings taken or damaged. Few or no close friends at school. Frequently socially isolated, less assertive or lacks the skills to respond to others' teasing or harassment. Appears weak or easily dominated, tries to stay close to a teacher or other adult at recess or during breaks.
Students who are new to schools, students with mental or physical disabilities, students who belong to a minority, racial, or ethnic group, students who are overweight, students who are gay, lesbian, bisexual, or transgender.
Bullying is not a conflict, but is abuse. There is not a question of some right and some wrong on both sides. The playing field or balance of power is not level. Adults need to claim responsibility.
We should create a positive environment for every student the second they step into the door. We are all responsible. As teachers, we need to document behaviors in class to establish patterns of behavior as well as creating documentation when meeting with the parent.
Share your own bullying experiences and provide examples of effective coping skills. Make yourself available to students. Create a school culture in which students and staff know that bullying is wrong and will not be tolerated. Provide mental health or counseling services and/or referrals for both victims and perpetrators of bullying. Make sure that you educate parents on the signs of bullying and involve them in bullying prevention activities.
When you are in the classroom, there are many things you can do to help you stop bullying. Have assigned seating if you see a problem arise. Be consistent. Take every student's complaint seriously. Have meetings with students to discuss bullying issues. Get the counselor and administrators involved. Be approachable. Create an open and safe environment. Provide students ways to deal with bullying.
If a teacher witnesses inappropriate behavior that could be considered bullying, they should report the incident immediately to a campus administrator and a counselor. If a parent calls and reports an incident of alleged bullying, the teacher will document the information and report the incident immediately to a campus administrator and a counselor.
If a child reports bullying to a teacher, the teacher is to report the incident immediately to a campus administrator and a counselor. Principals and assistant principal will identify and address all bullying concerns as expeditiously as possible. Only principals and assistant principals can determine if an incident is in fact bullying. Galena Park ISD has posted a link at www.galenaparkisd.com for parents to report alleged bullying concerns to school administrators.
For more resources and information about bullying and bullying prevention, please visit one of the following: the National Center for Mental Health Promotion and Violence Prevention, National Violence Prevention Youth Resource Center, Center for the Study and Prevention of Violence at the University of Colorado, the Stop Bullying Now campaign, the American Federation of Teachers. If you have questions or concerns, please contact one of the individuals listed below. Myra Castaneda, Director for Educational Support, 832-386-1043. Michelle Epps, Executive Director for Student Support Services at 832-386-1031.
In this part of the video, we will talk about how to report suspected child abuse.
Galena Park ISD is committed to complying with all legal requirements regarding the reporting of suspected child abuse by establishing policies and procedures, educating staff, engaging parents and students.
Our objective for this portion is for staff members to be able to recognize the 4 types of abuse, to recognize the various signs of related abuse, to know and to understand their legal responsibility in reporting suspected abuse, and what the necessary steps are to report abuse.
Abuse is defined as repeated cruelty or violence towards something or someone for the purpose of causing harm. The types of child abuse are broken down in 4 distinct categories: physical abuse, sexual abuse, emotional, psychological abuse, and neglect.
Physical abuse of a child is an injury resulting from physical aggression. Even if the injury was not intended, the act is considered physical abuse. The signs of physical child abuse are burns, bite marks, cuts, bruises, or welts, resistance to going home, fear of adults.
Sexual abuse of a child is any sexual act between an adult and a child, including penetration, intercourse, incest, rape, oral sex, and sodomy. Regardless of the child's behavior or reactions, it is the responsibility of the adult not to engage in sexual acts with children.
The signs of sexual abuse are inappropriate interest in or knowledge of sexual acts, seductiveness, avoidance of things related to sexuality, or rejection of own genitals or body, either overcompliance or excessive aggression, and the fear of a particular person or family member.
Emotional child abuse is any attitude, behavior, or failure to act that interferes with the child's mental health or social development. It can range from simple verbal insults to extreme form of punishment. The signs of emotional abuse are low self-confidence, poor self-image, unable to trust, fearful, low empathy, anxious and depressed, uninterested, feeling of shame and guilt.
Child neglect is a very common type of child abuse. According to Child Welfare Information Gateway, more children suffer from neglect than from physical and sexual abuse combined. There are 3 basic types of neglect: physical neglect, educational neglect, and emotional neglect. The signs of child neglect are the clothing unsuited to the weather, being dirty or unbathed, extreme hunger, apparent lack of supervision.
In accordance with Family Code 261-101A, any person who suspects that a child has been or may be abused or neglected has a legal responsibility under state law for reporting the suspected abuse or neglect to law enforcement or to Child Protective Services.
Any district employee, agent, or contractor has an additional legal obligation to submit the oral or written report within 48 hours of learning the facts giving a rise to the suspicion of child abuse. State law requires that the identity of the person making a report of suspected child abuse or neglect be kept confidential. A person who, in good faith, reports or assists in the investigation of a report of child abuse or neglect is immune from civil or criminal liability.
Reporting your suspicions to a school counselor or to another school staff member does not fulfill your responsibility under the law. Through assistance may be obtained from a school counselor or another school staff member in filing the report. The legal responsibility of submitting the report to CPS must be completed by the individual initially learning of the facts regarding the suspected abuse. You are placing a child at risk of continued abuse or neglect. You are violating the law and may be subject to legal penalties, including criminal sanctions. You are violating board policy and may be subjected to disciplinary actions, including possible termination of your employment and your certification from the State Board for Educators. Certification may be suspended, revoked, or canceled.
When reporting suspected child abuse or neglect, the report can be filed with CPS by phone or online. When reporting by phone, dial 1-800-252-5400. Provide the information as requested to the intake officer. Record the name and ID number of the intake officer and obtain a reference number and maintain a copy of all documentation for your files.
When reporting online, you must access the website at www.txabusehotline.org. Input the information as requested on the online form and print a copy of the information submitted, and maintain a copy of all your documentation for your files. Though not required, it is a good practice to inform your campus administrator when filing a report with CPS.
If you suspect a child will be in imminent danger when going home from school that day, please call CPS ASAP to ensure the information is reported in enough time for a caseworker to make a visit to the campus before sending the child home.
For more resources and information about reporting suspected abuse, you can contact the Galena Park Independent School District staff counselors, YSS workers, CIS workers, law enforcement officers, or contact the National Domestic Violence Abuse Hotline at 1-800-799-SAFE or the National Runaway Switchboard at 1-800-RUN-AWAY.
If you have questions or concerns, please contact one of the individuals listed below. Karen Haynes, Program Director for Social Services, 832-386-1280. Dr. Michelle Epps, Executive Director for Student Support Services, 832-386-1031.